Yes, now I want to use this one. It's true that this, or maybe this too, indeed. It's true that this paper is bigger, but I don't have bigger brushes. And anyway, I think this could be good enough to do that. So I will tape again. And I'm not sure if I would change my subject to another photo, maybe. What do you think? Would you change your subject, or would you paint the same thing but bigger? I imagine that if you have the same sketchbook, maybe you prefer to change the photo. So I think that's what we're going to do, but just in case, I will read now your comments. This paper is different, by the way. This is, what else? This is what? I'm not sure anymore. I think this is Arches. Yes, this is Arches paper, so it should hold up water more easily. Let's see. I don't really enjoy Fabriano paper. I mean, I tried several times. I have two sketchbooks with Fabriano paper. And more often than not, I'm really frustrated with how it handles water, etc. And I'm always loving Arches, Sounders, etc. The problem is that they are more expensive, so yeah, I don't know. I just get really excited by the price of the sketchbook, but then I don't like it. Oops. Okay, so I'm reading Lisa right now. I think I started out too wet. Everything flew into each other. Oh yeah, that happens to me, but that's fine. Don't worry. I mean, you tried that. We can do another one, waiting more for it to dry. Your planes are way more defined. Also, my tape hates me. I won't have a nice script line at the end. I think I won't have it neither, Lisa, honestly. I think this tape, I've not been using it since a long time, so I'm not sure how it works. I don't remember. Usually it's fine. It's this Tisa one, but we will see later. I will show you when I when I remove the tape how it looks like. And if you started too wet, don't worry, because you get to start again. You tried it once, you know maybe which part got too wet, and maybe you want to try again without so much water, etc. So that's fine. That's completely fine. Let's do another one, but with a different photo. Also, I love this one. I think we are going to do this one. Also, I will wait for a bit. I will go take some water, and then I can wait for you to finish maybe your painting or the last details, or maybe take a tea or a coffee. So I will go take my water because I didn't, and I need some, and I will come back in just 1 minute, I think. See you. I'm back with some water. Now I know that next time I need to bring my bottle of water. I also realized I have my fingers green and blue. I don't know if you can see it, maybe here. Yeah, because I was touching the bristles, of course, with the hand. Okay. Oops, I hope this doesn't have pain because I put it. Okay, it's okay, no worries. And now I will clearly change my water. Maybe you got 2 cups of water. I only got 1 because I was lazy to put another one, and it's completely dark green, black-ish. So I will also change it. If you have a water that is this color, change it please for the next one. We don't want our colors to be influenced by the color of the water, so let's change it. Okay, so clean fresh water. Perfect. I also have my rag that is too wet now, so I will change that one as well. I will take this one now. Have this one with me. We'll put this aside. And why not? I'm not sure. Maybe I will. That part, well, that's okay. I will just re-wet some of the colors. And I love this one. It's true that I don't have the same size / resolution. Mine is a bit wider, but that's okay. What do you think of this photo? Do you like it? Do you like that photo to paint it now? I'm trying to check the comments as well. I need to really find a way to watch the video that you see here at the same time as I watch the comments. I don't know yet how to do it, but I will find out. Okay. Where is the chat? Here. Okay, perfect. Okay, I see there are no comments, so good. That's good. Now let's then, oops, here, nope, where are you? Let's now start with this one. So I will take my pencil. I put again tape, right? Because I really like to be free with my brush strokes. I don't want to care if I'm going outside the paper or what. I don't care. I will just pick up some of the colors that I put in my palette to make space and place for new colors. I mean, for example, this green, I don't want to remove it. Really, I just want to take some of them because I think it has too much water. Also, for the right side of my palette, I will just take some of the colors there. Oh, perfect. I put my finger into my quinacridone red. So now I have my finger red as well. Oh my god. I see that the music stopped, so we should fix that. Okay, good. So take your Pencil again, if you're painting with me this one, of course, you are not obliged to do so. Just if you want, if you are ready for another one. Okay. The first thing I do is I usually decide where is the horizon line here. So here more or less. It's more or less here. It's true that the music paused again. I don't know why. What I don't understand. Okay, now. So my horizon line is more or less there. Horizon line. I mean, here the horizon is not really the horizon, but it's okay. And you can see that this quite combed, so it's quite circular. But I want to give myself still some place in the foreground for these cute little rocks. So I'm trying to make the bigger shapes like this, more or less. Yes, more or less like this. No, I think it was fine like that. Okay, so I will remove this part. I'm trying to sketch as light as possible so it doesn't show up later when we put the watercolors. Also, I don't like to do that with my hand because this pencil is quite soft. It's a 2B, I think, if I'm not wrong. And then you get pencil all over the place. So instead of that, I'm using a brush because it's much softer. Okay, to clean up the debris from the eraser. Okay, yeah, weird, right? Now I'm trying to place my waterfall. The thing here is that I don't want the waterfall to be in the middle because for composition matters, symmetry is not really that interesting. So it's better if we place it a bit on the left or a bit on the right, but not in the middle, like a symmetrical composition. Of course, this is only a recommendation and only things that other master painters and artists have studied in the past, but you are free to break the rules, you are free to make your own rules, whatever. So I'm just explaining what I do and why I do this, okay? So for this, it's true that I don't know very much how to, yeah, maybe I need to put a bit less because I'm seeing my waterfall is quite small. I want it to be longer like. So I will move the horizon line a bit down. Okay, a bit down. And then what is really important in waterfalls is that you make the top part usually thinner than the bottom part, okay? As you can see here, this part is much thinner than the bottom part, right? So we need to really make it bigger each time. So for that, I will decide first. I'm realizing I'm going too fast. I will decide first where to place this part. So I'm trying to find the rule of the thirds. Maybe here. Yeah, maybe here. Okay. So what I will try to do is I will try to say this is a wall. These are walls. These are only walls. This is really like, yeah, there are some rocks here, there are some trees here, etc. But the important thing here is the waterfall that starts here and then it's bigger as it goes down. So really like that, more or less. I will not define anything here, and I will not define anything here. We don't need to do that. We will do that later. So now I will do something. This painting, I will start it a bit more wet than the other one. Don't go crazy with water. I mean, this is something that it's really difficult for me to not go crazy with the water. I use too much water all the time, like all the time. But because I love to see paint flow, and I don't know, it's something that I really love. But let's try, as we are using a bigger brush, we should maybe get less water than we used to get with a smaller brush, right? This is something I learned already in the previous painting, but yeah. Until I tried, I didn't know, so that's good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet only this part, okay? It's the part of the background. The part of the background. And now in this part of the background, I want to put very soft colors. I will put a bit of yellow. I will put some greens, but really soft ones, like not really pigmented, okay? It's true that it's wet, so you can put something pigmented because it will then dilute with the water that is already in the paper. So we are just giving an overview that there are some things there. You know what I mean? That there are some things in the background. I'm trying to create a kind of rock color. I really need to investigate how to make a really interesting rock color. I think I didn't find yet one that I love, and I would love to find one, honestly. I'll put a bit of brown here and there, because as you can see here, we have, yeah, you don't need to see the details of that part because it's quite far away. Okay, so I will leave that there already, and I will clean my brush. I also realized that bigger brushes are more difficult to clean. And now I will go to the bottom part, so to this part, and I will wet it down, okay? I will wet this coast part. And I've realized that this part goes more into it than when I painted, so I will wet a bigger part than my pencil lines. And here I will just put some yellow ochre or sienna, you see grays, etc., but really non-defined. So let's do that. Let's put some grays, siennas, yellow ochre even. Really light colors. Yeah, I'm sorry that you cannot see the palette. It's difficult to juggle all things, huh? So I will keep learning, but yeah. Please, if you need to see some part in particular, let me know. I zoom in so you can see it better, because if I zoom out, oops, no, the other way around, free. Good. If I zoom out, I thought this may be too far away for it to see, so. But okay, we can keep it at that part a bit more, so you can see more the mixes I'm doing and everything. Just don't worry here, we're just giving the first brush strokes, not really important ones. I can also see there are hints of green and yellow in the paint, in the photo. Here you see this big yellow rock, or here a bit of green, green. So we can do that as well. Just a tiny bit here and there, because we are not defining how the rocks are yet, so we'll do that later. But yeah, to give a hint that there is mask on the rocks. Okay, so I will do something now. I want to go away from that part and from that part because they are wet, but I can go to this part maybe. So I will wet all this wall that we have here. Again, try to use less water than you would use with a smaller brush. I'm trying to not touch much that part, the part where the two colors meet. I touch it, but I try to not touch it very much, so. And yes, respect the water part here, respect this part of the water. Okay, so now we are in this place. Here, I want you to get crazy. I want you to get crazy with colors, because here, this is nothing. I mean, this is nothing interesting. This is just a mask, some dirt. So, yeah, go crazy here. No worries at all. We will then define later what it is, etc. Some greens, some blues. Okay, maybe that blue is not really the one I wanted to add, but you know what I mean. And we are going to add a bit of red to each green to make it like more recognizable, more just mix on the paper, okay? It's true that as long as we go towards the cascade, I want you to be a bit more dark, okay? Because what I learned when you paint a landscape with a waterfall is that the waterfall is so bright. I mean, it's so in the focal point because around there are darker values. You see what I mean? Like if this rock was yellow ochre, or if it was like this color, this sienna color, then the waterfall wouldn't show up so much, wouldn't stand out so much. So we need to do this part and this part a bit darker, okay? So that's what I will try to do here. Okay, I don't want to touch it more. We will come to it later. And we will go now to the left part and we will do something similar, okay? Yeah, so we will wet this left part and we will do something similar. We will let our brush go wherever it wants. If you put water on top of the waterfall, that's okay. I mean, as long as you didn't put water all over the waterfall. What I mean is that these lines can be a bit blurry, the lines on the sides, right? they can be a bit blurry, and they are a bit blurry usually. So I'm mixing a bit more of burnt sienna with ultramarine blue to make really a dark color here. And I added that rigged edge because you see there are like some plants, some rocks, etc. And also you need to add here some shadows because we have these plants and these plants have shadows, you see. Okay, so okay, now this left part is also wet, so I'm adding here a bit more yellow because in this side I see it's more like a yellow green. Then I will start adding this green as well. And I will not forget that on these sides it's more we need the color more darker color. I reach a point in the painting session where I don't know how to talk because I'm very focused on the painting. Okay. If we missed one of the white parts, don't worry because later we will. You can either take now a napkin and take the. I'm looking for a napkin and take the water back, or we could come back later with a white Posca pen, right? And retrieve the lights. I will anyway, even if I went a bit over it, I will press down with a dry napkin and you can see I pick up some color and some water, so that's fine. I will make again the left part of the waterfall dark. Also this part, I see there are some shapes here that make it darker. And here on top as well, you can see the dark parts there. Okay. So now we have done that. And that's fine. Now we wait for it to dry. And maybe we can start defining these rocks. I mean, I can't wait to paint this part. This turquoise water, because it's amazing. I mean, these colors are absolutely stunning. And then the problem is that this is wet and this is wet, so we will mess it up. We don't want to mess it up so early. We can mess it up a bit later, okay? So now we are going to go for the stones, and here I don't know what to do. I'm just trying to I will try to make a bit more clear some shapes of some stones, okay? You can do the same if you want, or if you want a more free approach, you can leave them like they are now. I think that for me, I would like to make them more shapes, like for example here, like this. You see, I took like a very light color and I'm trying to say that there are rocks here and that they have these kind of shadows, right? It's true that in the photo we don't have, not all of them, I mean, are really, not all this part is rocks. There's some parts where you have floor as well. And also rocks, the shadow of the rocks depend a lot on the light. And we didn't define here any light source, but that's not the point of this exercise, right? The point of this exercise is really convey the emotion, convey the meaning of the landscape with few brush strokes, so simplifying. That's why I'm not going to do these 200,000 rocks that we can see here. We're just going to do some shapes like if they were rocks. That's why we're using our big brush here and there. And yeah, I'm finding it much easier to make this exercise with a round brush than with a flat brush. I will add here some shadow because for me this rock should be one rock, like big rock. Okay, so you can see that part is a bit more defined. It's not like the photo, is not exactly the same, but we don't care anyway. And now if you want to do some parts like in the photo, more or less, as always, it's always more or less, right? In this exercise, I mean, you can take some yellow ochre and maybe do this here, like add those sandy parts, you know what I mean? Like just say this is sand, this is sand, this is sand there, this is sand, this part as well, so that's okay. For me that's fine. I don't want more sand. I will just touch a bit the paper to see where it's dry and where it's not. Okay, it's not dry yet, except for here. Here it's dry already, and we have here a big rock that we can already paint. So I will try to take not a lot of water. So not a lot of water at the, like here. I want to make a quite thick mix, but light. Still light mix. Okay, like this. Also, you can use the previous sheet we made to test your colors. Yeah, this one, you see, it's like a kind of color for stones, and this is a mix of cobalt blue, perylene violet, and burnt sienna. And I will paint a bit more this rock, just a bit more, but I will leave the top part of the rock for the mask, so I want some mask there. I will make like if there were more rocks here. It's very nice to see when rocks are here. Now I will add a bit of this mask on top of the rock. And here we can do some kind of leaves. It's like kind of saying that here there is some vegetation, etc., but not a lot because it's the foreground, right? So we don't need to really define what's going on there. I will just take my brown. My brown is too light, too yellow. So I will put a bit more of red and a bit more of blue to make it darker. Indanthrone blue, for example. Yes, exactly. Sometimes you will see that I will put here put my brush outside, and what I'm doing is just I'm removing excess of paint, right? And here I'm trying to do a branch, but as you can see, this branch is not taking all the attention, right? Because it's in the background. Even if in the photo you can see it's quite clear, whereas it's better to leave it like this there. Okay, so this part should be already more or less still wet, yes. So let's go for the water. Let me pause for 1 minute and I read your comments in case you have something to say, if you want to tell me how you are doing, etc. So 1 second, where is it? Here. Okay, for now I don't see anything in the chat. I just wanted to make sure. Anyway, you can leave me the questions, or if you have any comment, etc., in the replay of the video in the community, because right now, yeah, I still need to learn how to handle this. So we will go for the water right now, because yeah, this is still a bit it's not wet, it's a bit humid, so I want it to dry a bit more. And now we are going to go for this part, for the really the water. I want you to make sure to leave this part white, okay? I want this part to be white, so don't paint the whole, don't wet the whole thing. Or if you wet the whole thing, make sure here you don't put any water, right? Or any paint. So yeah. I'm trying to wet more or less everything. What I really like, I will tell you now. I'm a bit more okay, more or less. So what I really like about this water is that this is super turquoise, then green suddenly, then here orangey. You see the orangey, and the orangey related to the blue, this turquoise is like it really captures my attention. So I would say that here next to the rocks I will put some more orangey, this part, then I will go for a green, yellow, and then turquoise. Okay, so orangey. Okay, orangey here. I'm thinking that maybe next time, because it's the first time I think about this, next time I can leave in the sketchbook session, in the community part, I can leave there the photo, the reference photo that we will be using for the live session, because it's true that now if you don't have the photo, maybe it's a bit difficult to see all these details. So yes, I will try to look for doing it next time. If you think it's a good idea, let me know. I think it will be easier. I mean, at least when I've painted along with other people, it was useful to see the picture. Do you guys have some other artists that like to do streamings and that you follow, etc.? because I have, and I really like these moments where we paint together. And maybe you can share with me some of them so I can check them out. So I'm adding here just turquoise. I see that with a big brush you get more water, so yes, be careful with that. Okay, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to wet that part. I'm going to wet this side, and I will tell you why. I'm just putting my brush, the tip of my brush, I'm wetting it, only the tip, okay? If you wet the whole brush, you will have too much water, right? Just check. A lot of water, right? But no, you want to really just the lip, the point of the brush to be wet. Even I will put it on my towel to remove the excess water, and just with the tip I will go all along that line, the line that separates having pigment from not having pigment. And why is that? That's because I want it to be a soft line, not a hard one, okay? And we can already start with the waterfall as well. I will wet with the tip of my brush all the waterfall. Cool. Now when I do this, you need to be open to do strange, weird things, because what I'm going to do is I will let pigment fall. I will incline a bit my sketchbook. I will take quite some pigment. I will take right now brown pigment because I'm going to put this part, like these smaller parts, a bit darker. Now what I'm doing is I will take damp brush, damp brush, if I see one part that is too harsh, I will then touch it, and then I will do the same. I will do the same more or less approach, but with a cobalt blue. I will take my cobalt blue, so this blue. Are we still here? No. I'm still here. Can you hear me? Ah, yes. So the problem is with my camera, I think. Let me check. Yes, the problem is with my camera. What happened? happened with you? Okay, doesn't have more battery, so I will need to put the dummy battery on. 1 second, please. How to fix this? I used to have a dummy battery that I can use for that. Where is it? Where is it? It's weird because at the same time it's streaming, it's charging. So I don't understand why the charging is not enough for the camera to be powered on. I'm thinking about finding my dummy battery. Let me check here. Yeah, I had a battery where you just plug in. I found it. Okay, just give me 1 second until I put the dummy battery and we are back with the streaming. Okay, off. You know, these things need to happen at some point. So it's good that it happened now. So I learned from it. And next time I know about it. Okay. Please. Please, please. Okay, perfect. So now I just need to close this. Whew. Yes, perfect. I think it will be fine now. Should be fine. Hey, we're here again! Yippee! Yes, I'm very sorry for that. Yeah, shit happens. So, maybe you had time to catch up while I was doing all this thing. Yeah, we are not so far away from finishing this painting. I was doing this part and I realized that you didn't see how I was handling it because the camera was off probably. So what I was doing here was to, now it's dry, so I will wet it again. I'm going to quickly check your comments in case you told me something, in case you missed one part or something like that you want me to repeat. Yeah. Okay. For now, I don't see any comment in the chat, but I will check it out a bit later as well, because maybe the streaming is now still stopped for you. I don't know how much delay we have between you and me. So, okay, perfect. What happens here is that now we need to wet the waterfall again. Just a little bit. and we want paint to go down just a bit. I'm using this big brush, but you see I always have a napkin here because this is too white. I want it to have like a tone of this turquoise color, just a tone, so I'm going back and forth with the napkin and also with the water to make it less visible, let's say. And now with the pigment and this, with these two pigments, I'm mixing like neutral tint and gray. We are doing this, and then there's a very cool tip to paint waterfalls. Maybe I'm thinking that for this part we should use a smaller brush, but we are here to use a huge brush, so we are not changing now. No, I'm kidding. I mean, if you want to change, it's totally okay to change. As I told you before, we need the background to be a bit darker in order for the foreground for the foreground, so for the waterfall to be visible and be like this. Of course, below, so this part, I don't want to have any, on the lower part, I don't want to have any of those rocks showing up, because this is the part where the spray of the water comes. Yeah, I'm trying to do those smaller like things there, those smaller parts of water. It's true that I see, if I look at my reference photo more into detail, because sometimes I just forget I'm having a reference photo and I do whatever I want. If I look closer to my reference photo, I can see that it's mostly in the middle where we have these rocks. Also, I put usually some blue, turquoise / green, yeah, around here. Some people, what they do is they put some pigment here and then they let water flow. So they put pigment here, and now I'm going to take my brushes for you to see it. Then they let water go down, right? So they let water to really bring the shape of the waterfall, and that is very interesting, and that makes a lot of sense. I'm cheating now because I'm using the smaller brush, but yeah, I realize it's much easier with it. Anyway, I'm leaving this part like this because we still need to put more emphasis on this part, okay? We will come back to it later. This part is completely dry. Let's re-wet it again. And now I really want us to go full in. So now it's the time to add shapes of leaves, more depth, everything, okay? I'm not really, so this part, this is what I want. I want now really bold choices, texture everywhere, please. Colors around. It's time for us to add these kind of colors. So don't be afraid and go for it. Go for it. Oops, I took too much. Oops. More often than not, we are used to not use colors that are dark enough in our watercolors. I always do the same. I do the same mistake. I mean, it's not a mistake really, it's just that yeah, that in every watercolor you have lights and darks, and we love the lights but we don't put enough darks, and that's okay, and it's a way of painting as well, but sometimes I realize that it would be nice to add more darks, so we are going full in with it right now. We will then later, don't worry, we always have time to add more details later, okay? Here we're adding just full in colors, okay? And the same thing is going to be done in this part. You can see how that pops already. So I wet, but I don't wet so much, like a lot. I just wet a bit. I see that my waterfall is being attacked by this part because it was wet, but that's okay because later I will add maybe a bit of white there, so no worries. It's true that the waterfall is not an easy part, but we will manage. So showing you here a bit more of the photo. Also, I'm adding darks in the down parts, like the part that are really down there. It's not that we don't have any other dark part. Of course we do, but especially on that side we have this. And if you see, this part was more about rocks instead of plants, so I added more of yellow ochre thingy, a bit more of if you remember, of neutral tint here and there. When you see it's too much, like too dark, you can always have water, a napkin, and then go for it and remove the excess. So I'm really liking this right now. What I'm doing is, because I don't want the waterfall to dry, I will take a smaller brush. Now you are allowed to take a smaller brush. For me, I was taking a number 8, but I will take a smaller one even. It's a number 4, okay? This one. And I want to take the opportunity to drop water like this. And also remove pigment. I'll show you right now. And don't worry about this, because we will continue doing that later. I'm removing a bit of brown pigment that came to the part where the spray is supposed to be. We will add more things later here. Okay. the feeling of the water is really there, I think. The problem is that it's not as white, but we will add later some other things or some other white gouache or I don't know, other things. I feel now that this is done, that the lake part is too innocent. So we don't have enough color there, so I will fix that. I will take my big brush again. I'm thinking of changing the water again because I'm seeing that I've used a lot of dark colors now and maybe the water is not really clean. So if you want to do it, go ahead, no worries at all with that. I see that too, next to this part, this should be much more dark to make the rocks pop a bit more. So I'm adding, you see, with a big brush you can add quite some things, huh? Anyway, I think we are already conveying the feeling of this place. That was the goal with this brush, to really learn how to convey the feeling of the place and everything. So I think we already got that part right, at least. So I'm giving a bit of really this color, this really dark color there, but I will leave the rest to just go with the flow. Okay, so that's good. I would make a bit more darker the part where the rocks meet the water. If that's too harsh, you can go over this line with a damp brush. At least the definition will stay. That's for sure. The definition will stay because we are just touching the outer part of the line. Okay, so you see, I think we're quite good. We just need to add here, this is still wet, so I will wait a bit more. Let's add a bit more of definition to the rocks again. The good thing about this brush is that it's allowing me to really not take into account these small rocks. I mean, I'm sure that if I had a smaller brush, I would be super like trying to do all the rocks everywhere, etc. And that's not the point of this exercise. The point of this exercise is to really use a big brush, to not care about the details. So step by step I'm adding more dimension to the rocks, just make shapes between them. We don't care how a rock looks like. just give a hint of what's happening there. I will add again a bit more yellow. If you remember, these rocks have really mask and these kind of things that it's nice to know, nice to have. It will give dimension to the rocks, etc. Some of them even have the whole part full of mask. One of the sides of the faces of the rock full of mask. So this part we said it's sand, right? So we better give some dimension to the sand by adding the darks of the sand, the dark parts of the sand. I see that this part is a bit undefined still, and the goal here is to really separate this foreground from this background. So here I did a good job, I think, more or less, adding the foreground, and this not really. I know it's still wet, but I want to give it more dimension and more. I touched the waterfall, but it doesn't matter. I'm trying to say this is vegetation and this part is rock. That's what I'm trying to say here. So let's do this part. I will add a bit more of color here, just so it knows that we are rock. Hey, we are rock and we are on the foreground while you are the background, right? So we have different colors here. And again, I'm just with the big brush touching everything so it blends, and that's all. You see, now we created more definition there. We don't need to really get into detail so much, it's just the line. Okay, what else? So I still don't like this part very much. It's quite flat. It's quite flat. We are taking a lot of time with this one. I just got carried away by this landscape. I think we need dark. I think it doesn't have dimension because nothing is happening here, you see? Like, things are happening if there are big darks, big lights, etc. But here nothing really is happening, so nobody knows what is this. Maybe it's because of that, I don't know, maybe. So I just add more shadows. Okay, I think it's coming around. I think it's coming around quite well, I would say, because we have middle tones, light tones, dark tones. I think that was the part missing. That's the good point about this exercise. Don't care about these details, just do this thing. I'm adding some mask to more rocks, etc. So, okay. For me, that part I will not touch it again. The only part I want to touch more is this one, maybe that one, and maybe a bit more the cascade. Here, the only thing I want to do is I want to add darker leaves. Not darker leaves, but more defined leaves. And this, I will do it with still my big brush. It's true that this is a bit, I was touching the paper, yeah. I do this very often, the fact of touching the paper just to feel it how it is. I do it very often. It shouldn't be good for the paper because you are touching with the grease of your hands, but yeah, I do it. I don't know why. So I'm testing just to see. No, this would be enough for leaves, but no, I see that even if in the surface is a bit more dry, in the inside the fibers it's quite wet. So while this dries, I will propose you to do something, and now we are going just to finish this. If you are still with me, we are ending soon. I'm not changing the water because I'm going to paint green and the water is green, so no worries at all. Now what I will try to do is I will try to add this kind of little plant shapes. I will try to use less water and more pigment. These are too big and too watery, so what I do is I just absorb them with a tissue paper. This is very important to be doing it without water, like with as less water as possible, so they are really defined, because yeah, we are now defining the details at the end, so we want them to be really defined and to be really sharp. We don't want them to be watery or too and we'll try to vary the shapes, the leaf, the size, the color, everything, so it's not monotonous, it's more like a I'm sorry if I'm too focused. I'm just enjoying this painting quite a lot. So you see here, honestly, there is no need to make you suffer anymore. Here you could already take a smaller brush, right? You see, this water holds so much. This brush holds so much water. It's too much. You could also add some lines here. And if your painting has nothing to do with mine, that's okay too, I mean, for sure. It's completely fine. I hope the paintings are different indeed. I'm not sure if I want to do all. I think I don't. I think I prefer when it's like a really mix between details and abstract. So I'm not sure about this part. I don't want to keep doing plants anymore. Maybe a little bit more. Yes, I will do a little bit more here and there. In the top part I do bigger leaves because I understand that there are bigger plants up there. Hola Kenzie. How Kenzie? Hello. Kenzie here. Wow, 2 hours 30 of live video. Amazing. Okay, I will really try to end already, to finish already the painting. I will try to add some texture here on the background. I do that by placing details, and then with a tissue paper or with something I remove the detail, really the detailing part. So that's how I do it. Now a small part here on the left, still there. Hola Kenzie. Painting with this bigger brush, yeah, it's quite similar to painting with a smaller one because it has a very fine point, and I really like it because, yeah, it's fine. I mean, it lets you make some fine details, but not as much, not as fine, right? So that's also interesting to see. It's also interesting to see the not so you will need quite some patience in this part. But really try to make your greens really different here and there. More green, more red, more... Quinto, hola. Yeah, I'm not following the photo anymore. Okay. So for me, last part is the waterfall. Now is when I take the whitewash or Posca pen or something like that. I would say the whitewash, if I find it. If I'm able to find it. So let's see here. I recently bought this big tube of whitewash for the studio because I don't find it, and I have smaller ones to go around, to go plainer, but I didn't have any big one. I will change my water just for the whitewash, okay? I should have cleaned it before. It was too green. So now I'm for sure taking a smaller brush. Now yes. Now it's time for us to do dry brushing. As you can see here, we're retrieving again the color, the color and the texture of the water falling. So I don't want to go overboard. I went a bit overboard here. I will fix it now with more color. Okay. We can do also the next thing. I can do this effect where it looks like that water is falling, so cool. I can also do with a smaller brush. Smaller brush strokes. If possible, dry brushing is always a good thing to do in waterfalls because it really shows how the water falls. So yeah, this is my interpretation of this waterfall. Let's remove the tape because here we don't have anything that is fresh. Let's remove the tape, let's sign it, and let's finish for today. It was such a long live stream. I think I would need to go more to the point next time, so it's not so long for you as well. I don't know if someone else is still here. I will check in a minute. But yeah, I'm much more happy with this second version of the big brush exercise because the paper was better for me. It was holding up much better. And because I really like waterfalls. Let's sign it. I will show you how the other landscapes came out. Free. Today is 4th of July. This is how the more expressive landscapes came out as well. I would come back and add more details later with a smaller brush, as it was said in the exercise. I sign all my work, so let's do that. I put at least the month and the year, so I can see later the progress, or I can remember, this is when we did this live session, etc. And the other one, no, the other one I can't do that yet because it's quite the abstract ones are quite wet still. So thank you so much for joining. I'm not sure if I'm the only one here or not. I will check right now just in case. But yes, it was really nice to have this first session with you. I'm sorry not everything went as I would like to, but yeah, things will keep improving, and yeah, we will find out a better way to do this. And I hope to see you in the next one. We will check what's the next one, but it will be probably the next exercise for landscape simplification. A big thank you for being here, and yeah, see you there. Bye.